short video clip just gives the basics for teachers to know what does CAPS require in the planning of natural sciences in senior phase. Now, the first thing to remember is 3 hours per week is allocated to natural sciences. And in these 3 hours, there are 4 aspects or sections that need to be covered: life and living, matter and materials, energy and change, planet Earth and beyond. Now, if we have a look at life and living, you'll notice the whole diversity of topics within life and living. And obviously, these aren't all covered just in one grade. It's spread across grades 7, 8, and 9. And these topics vary from photosynthesis to sexual reproduction to digestive systems. And the idea is that each year the learners build on their previous year's knowledge. Matters and materials also have a wide variety of different topics that are touched on. The most important thing is to remember is some of these things the learners have touched on in intermediate phase, but not in great detail. And this is the start. Senior phase prepares them for FET, for the subjects that they may take there. So things like the introduction to periodic table of elements is so important, acids and bases, all the reactions. They need to really understand it, but most importantly, they need to do them practically and they need to enjoy them. With energy and change, there are lots of different aspects of electricity and energy they look at, and this is obviously spread across grades 7, 8, and 9. This again should be a really fun section for the learners to do and as practical as possible. Planet Earth and beyond really looks at the solar system, the different atmospheres, lithosphere and so on, looking at minerals, stars. And this can also be a very practical, enjoyable topic. So we need to make sure that the learners really are engaged in the learning process. Now let's have a look and see what formal assessment tasks are required for senior phase. Now these assessment tasks are the same for grades 7, 8, and 9. The only thing that differs is the actual time allocated to the test. So for example, if it's a control test, but also how many marks are allocated. So you can download the PDF after this video clip, which gives you the detailed description of what the control tests and the practical investigations and so on should be out of. So if you look at term 1, the formal assessment tasks that they're required to do is a practical assignment or an investigation, and that includes topics from term 1. They're also required to do a control test. In term 2, they're required to do a practical assignment or investigation, and that's their second one, a control test, and a mid-year exam. So they've got 3 formal assessment tasks there. And all 3 of these are include topics from term 1 and term 2. In term 3, there's a practical investigation or practical assignment, and then a control test. Both of these just from topics from term 3. And then in term 4, again, we look at practical assignment or investigation and a project, and then of course the end of year exam. Now, there's a lot to do in formal assessment tasks in term 4, so you need to make sure that you start early. Now, it's important to understand the formal assessment tasks and the final weighting, and how do we get that final progression and promotion mark and code for the learners. Now, this is just an example of grade 7. Once later on in the course, you'll notice that there are PDFs that you can download that specifically outline how to calculate the marks for grade 7, 8, and 9. And this is obviously discussed a little bit more in the formal assessment section. So to get your final assessment mark or your final term mark, you need to take into consideration the school-based assessment tasks. Now, these are done in term 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in term 4, you're also looking at the practical, your 4th term practical task and your project. All of these together make up 40% of the final mark. The exam mark makes up 60%. And together, the 40 and the 60 make up 100% year mark. And that, of course, is then converted into a code. Now let's have a look at what should natural science teachers be promoting in their classroom, in their teaching and the learning, and then of course in the assessments. The first is they should be promoting that science is a discipline that sustains enjoyment and curiosity about the world and natural phenomena. The history of science and the relationship between natural science and other subjects. They should be promoting the different cultural contexts in which indigenous knowledge systems have developed, and most importantly, the contribution of science to social justice and societal development.